Good evening, everybody. I am Martha, and I am so glad everybody's here tonight. We would like everybody to introduce themselves, so if we could start at one side and go towards the other, and I'd like to introduce myself. I am the sister of Lazarus, but I just have a great time coming through and talking to you people, so welcome and glad you're here. And who is here this evening?
I'm Darcy.
Well, good evening, Darcy. We're so glad you made it back. And this is a special day for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We have a big surprise for you.
Oh, boy.
And who's next?
Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, you were here before. Oh, well, we're so glad you came again, and hopefully you will get something new tonight. You were so happy last time.
Yes, it was.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you for coming back. And who else do we have?
I'm Angela.
Good evening, Angela. How are you?
Good, thank you.
And you have had some very special times going on in your life. You are now a wedded wife.
I am, yes.
How does that feel?
So much different than I thought, and wonderful.
Well, I'm so glad you're here, and you can always bring the wedded husband sometime, too.
Definitely.
Okay, and who do we have?
Rosanna.
Well, good evening, Rosanna. I think that you came to Mac and Marilyn for help, right?
Yes.
Well, we're glad to have you here tonight, too. And everybody, I just have a really great time. I just like to hear Elvis. He is so wonderful. I just think he sings those songs better than anybody. His voice is gorgeous, just like he was. So we'll just always have to listen to a little bit of Elvis, if you would just indulge me.
We would love to do that.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, we would like everybody to know we would like to answer your questions tonight. So after we're through hearing from John and from St. Germaine, we'll be asking you your questions if you have some. And so think about what you have to ask. Just wanted to give you a little warning out there. And I'll be back. Oh, by the way, Darcy, if I run over, if by an hour is up, if you would ask if things are going well or if we should stop, I'd appreciate that.
Certainly will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am John.
Hello, John.
Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you came tonight. And I have a little message for people that need to be maybe a little bit more aware of what's going on out there, and to help you along the way with that. Tonight the word is honesty. And if you're being honest, it's very easy to go to the store and pay the amount on the ticket, go through the cash register and say, I was an honest person. But self-honesty is the key. And so often we like to delude ourselves or have a rationalization, some excuse maybe of how we're fooling ourselves in one more spot. And I want to talk for a few minutes about how that is a problem for you. If you understand how Spirit works by being honest. That's your direct line to God. And if you're not being honest with yourself, you have just disconnected. You have pulled the plug out of the wall. Your connection is no longer there. Maybe people don't realize how important that is. That's why I wanted to bring it up tonight. It's always fun to be able to share with people how they might have applicable and practical things in their life to help them move along so they have a more pleasant journey into ascension and into a happier, peaceful, and I heard the music, and isn't that wonderful? Because honesty will help bring you peace. Peace in the valley comes from an honest person inside as well as what you show you the world. So that honesty is so important that you have the insides matching your outsides. So many people out there have this lovely decor that they go to fancy stores and look very beautiful for everybody. But inside it's not such a pretty picture. Now everybody's secrets can be a little different than other people's secrets. And I really suggest tonight that when you go home to take a piece of paper out And maybe think about some things you might need to look at in your life so that your honesty can shine and shine through and out to others. Now, the reason this is so important, as I just started to refer to, is that you are all light workers, and your light needs to shine, and only through honesty can that happen. If you are going to be holding your light for others, and that's what your part of your job is here on this reincarnation, is to be a light worker, that honesty is so important, and it will bring a foundation into your life to build upon, which will not collapse. Some of you have probably heard about building your life on a firm foundation, and it says in the Bible not to build it on sand. And the sand is the deceits, the little white lies, the little ways to camouflage what you're really doing, all those little tricky ways we have of fooling ourselves to say, oh, that little bit isn't going to matter. And I'm here to say that little bit is just being minimized. It matters a great deal. So not to minimize, excuse it away, or pretend it isn't there. You're only hurting yourself, because if you're ready to move on and be the light worker you have agreed to become when you came into this reincarnation, it's so important to have that light shining and to hold the light for the ascension to occur. You are very important people. What you do, you are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Your light is changing the whole world. That's why you have to be so careful. You have a big responsibility. And when that light is not shining, we will not have the right spiritual energy to move on in ascension. Now, we have been guaranteed that the ascension was happening, it's going on right now, but we need all the light workers to be involved, not just partway, but to be totally committed. And you can see what happens when you don't hold that honesty as a very primary goal of what you're doing. It's happening all around as the results of lack of honesty. If you are familiar with the economy problems, the financial problems, the government problems, the medical problems, do you realize why they're collapsing? It's a lack of honesty. There's no firm foundation, and it can't stand up forever on a flimsy background of deceit and lack of truth and downright misinformation to lead people astray. And therefore, it is collapsing around us, just as we sit here tonight. But with your honesty, your light shining, we will create that solid foundation for the new times, the new age. The golden age is coming upon us. It's upon us at this point, but it isn't obvious to the mainstream yet. And you are part of holding the light to make that obvious for more and more people as they grow in their awareness and honesty. You are going to be the examples. You are the ones that they'll look up to and say, if they can do it, I can too. So honor yourself and honor your contract that you wrote before you came in, all of you, to do your job so that this will move forward. You will have a very rewarding life when you move into complete honesty, and you will be involved with making sure that the whole planet will be able to also do that, because your energy will expand out there to make that possible. And there will be peace in the valley. And that's what we're moving forward into, the fifth dimension of peace in the valley. Oh, doesn't that sound wonderful? Wasn't that the place you want to be right now, is in that peaceful valley? And look where you are. You're on the path and moving towards it very rapidly right now. So enjoy your trip and know that how much better it's going to be because of it. And I hope that you all have a very lovely evening. And if you have your questions, we would be glad to answer them. St. Germaine will be coming in a few minutes. So please know that you're important for the progression of our ascension and to take it seriously. Enjoy yourself along the way, but do the work necessary to help us all. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
I am St. Germaine.
Good evening, St. Germaine.
Good evening to you people. And I would like to know if there are any questions tonight. I would do my utmost to see if I can answer anything that you have. I am not perfect just because I'm on the other side, but I do have some knowledge you might not be aware of, and I am always glad to share that. So do we have someone tonight that has a concern?
My one concern, St. Germaine, this is Darcy.
Hello, Darcy.
I guess I'm getting a little anxious because I believe that I'm still supposed to move on to the campground. Is this correct?
Let me take a minute. As of this time, the energy has not changed, Darcy, and so your plans should go together, and I do not see any problems at this time.
Okay. The one girl that is ahead of me on the list for the cabin that should be coming up soon wants that particular cabin. Many have told me that they've seen me in it. And so I'm not quite sure which direction to jump at this moment.
I think you better not jump at all. The best way might be to just sit down and let the universe bring things together for you. So often people try to be very cooperative, you might say, or force issues into happening, and that actually works against the universe being able to do what's necessary for things to fall in place. So if you just sit back and let one day at a time come forward just right now and see how the pieces come together for you, let God step in and do the work, and take your hands off of it for right now. I would give up the worry. I would give up the big pressures that you have on yourself, and just enjoy the day knowing that it will all come together in good time.
Should I continue to pack my bags though, and pack things that I can?
The answer I'm receiving is yes. That would be a good idea to be prepared, but to keep your mind content that it will come together in the right way. I do not see an interruption of someone else's coming in, but you never know how things can change. So I would not put all your dollars on the roulette wheel. Remember, there is always those green numbers also that can come up.
Right. Right. Thank you very much. I will take your advice.
Are there any other concerns?
I do have a question.
All right.
I'd like to know, as far as a light worker, what would my best, for development, what would be the best thing for me personally to do?
Oh, there are numerous things. You know, one of the best things you ever did for yourself was to be at all of David's circles. There is a great deal of energy in a group like this. And the energy not only energizes the water that you have, but it energizes you. And the working of spirit can happen in a group setting like this. In studying certain books, are very valuable, such as Masters of the Far East is a wonderful book to better understand, so you know what's going on in a little different mode. It's important. Are you going to be okay, Darcy?
I will.
Can someone maybe help her? If you need to get up, Darcy, feel free to do that. I'm prepared.
May I please? Please remove.
You surely can. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. I'm crossing in front of you now.
I understand that. Thank you for warning me.
Thank you.
You can come back when you're ready.
Thank you.
One of the best ways, Nancy, to help yourself is to meditate daily. Do you meditate?
7 o'clock in the morning.
Wonderful. Sometimes you will have big results, and sometimes you will say, well, what was this about? Do not ever minimize meditating. We like to work on people when they're meditating. Things will come to you over time. Sometimes there will be gaps without thinking anything's happening, but sometimes without real awareness, bigger things are happening than you realize. So I would say keep meditating. If you have some spiritual books, there are numerous books that are excellent, but staying connected to a group that is like-minded, especially when you're in a setting as this, or up at Camp Edgewood in the healing or the studies they have up there, where you're in that seance room, is extremely helpful. That seance room is almost like sitting in David's cabinet. It is very powerful. A lot of development can go on in that room. So whatever avails you or is easy for you to participate in, classes, however you find it fits your schedules, I would suggest a regular routine of these things so Spirit knows what to plan on and can be there for you. And if you do it regularly at 7, then Spirit is prepared and can be there, and that is perfect. So I recommend and commend you for doing that.
Very much.
You're welcome.
I'm very eager, very ready.
Well, and you are coming along fine. Sometimes this takes a little more self-confidence to actually put yourself out there. Feel free to know you have the self-confidence. It's just you're not paying attention to it. You're letting other things distract you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Angelo, I am so glad you are here tonight.
Thank you.
Do you realize that you were married to Devin quite a few times in past lives? Does that sound familiar?
It does. I always knew that this was different than anybody I've been with before.
Well, he loved you very much. And sometimes you were not the wife, he was. Sometimes you were the husband. On occasion you were the daughter. And on occasion he was the son. You have also changed sexes at times, so that you were the husband and he was the wife. And so this can be confusing. He is here to help you grow in certain aspects of your soul, and he has been playing these parts out for you for eons. Does that sound like it rings true?
Yes, it rings true.
And he is very devoted to stepping up to the plate when necessary for these lessons to happen. So be prepared. Weddings are wonderful, and you will have a happy life. You will have your experiences. Just remember that's what they are, and he has graciously provided the opportunity for those lessons to happen. Sometimes you might be crying and weeping when you realize that he's really doing you a blessing so that you can heal even more of your soul. And sometimes it takes a very powerful person to step in and play those roles. So in appreciating your new husband, or your repeatedly new husband, as the case may be, know that this was a very big honor for him to be able to join you in this lifetime, because this lifetime is coming to an end, as you have probably heard of the ascension, and this is the time to bring the final pieces together so that your soul is as ready as possible to move on into fourth and fifth dimensions. And as you do that, the last of the experiences are needing to be healed, and so therefore he has given you a great gift.
Yes. And so I'm working on patience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on compassion, understanding, empathy. What does he displays difficulty regulating emotions at times? And so what am I to learn? What am I supposed to work on besides patience and compassion, which I know I still need a lot of work? Is there anything else that he needs or that I need?
When he comes, I'll be glad to talk with him.
Mm-hmm.
Your lesson is to not react, to understand that he is going through a growing process.
Mm-hmm.
This is not always as easy for men as it is for women.
Mm-hmm.
Goes along with the feminine and the masculine traits.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember, he's going through what a man would experience, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to stand back and detach with compassion. Send him love while he's going through it, and that's what you're doing when you detach with love. Instead of mixing up the soup some more, or creating more turmoil, to stand back and realize this is probably not a comfortable space for him either, as he's learning his lessons, and to just be as gracious through them as you can, and understand that we all will be having, and the nice part of that is as you extend that to him, you set an example for him extending it to you. So you're doing yourself a big favor. It's not that you're just giving, but it will come back tenfold, believe me.
Yeah, and he's done a lot, and I just want to know how I can learn faster and help him learn and help myself learn.
You're doing fine. You're moving well along very well. I would not try to jump any fences, but put one foot in front of the other. And as you move down the path, you are here to enjoy also. So learning to have compassion for yourself will help him to also have compassion for himself. And then you send out your compassion to him. And that's the biggest lesson, is to have joy and compassion in yourself as you're growing. And that's the lesson you're here for this particular time. You're ready to move into that space. And as he moves into his space, he's your companion, and he'll have his ups and downs. But remember to stay firm and not giving away your power in those situations. And that's the real choice of learning what's going on, because you then become the master of your emotions. Mm-hmm. You are very close. You could be taking classes about the masters. Because that's what masters do. They master their emotions, and that's what gets you ready for moving on in the ascension. Is we give up the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the judgment and the criticism, and that heals. And those emotions then become neutral. And ascended masters their emotions are not keyed in or connected with what's going on with other people. You stay level about that. You stay balanced. And that's what you're learning and working into. And as you do that, he will benefit.
Okay.
Very good. You're doing very well.
Thank you. I'm
Well, you're conscientious, you're aware, you're trying to do your best, and that's all we ever asked of anybody. And just have fun along the way. You had a good time, I'm sure, on your honeymoon. And just try to keep the honeymoon in the daily living, too.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you this evening, Rosanna?
Well, I'm doing okay. I wonder about this ringing in my ears.
Oh, you know, there's a song about that. About ringing in my heart there rings a melody, but yours ringing in the ears. Okay. Let's see what we can find out about that. Is there something you're afraid to listen to or hear that could be told to you?
Well, I was told I had a trauma at age 2, and I don't know what that was, and I don't, of course, remember.
Oh, let me see what that might have been. It was medical. Have you ever had trouble with your lungs?
Yes.
One of your lungs collapsed. They were very concerned, but they were able to rectify the situation, but at the time it was very traumatic. And to have to deal with such a, I see you as a very, like you weren't even a year old when this happened. Did you say you were 2?
I was told I was 2.
Okay, well you were a very young child when this happened. Yeah, you were not what you'd say moving around the earth very fast in those days. Your parents were so scared that it instilled a lot of fear in you. You picked up on their fear besides being, when your breath is lost, that is a very traumatic thing. Your breath is your connection to spirit. No matter what happens, breathe. That's what they tell people when they're in fear or they're in panic or having difficulties. Breathe, breathe. And when you're that young, it's very threatening because that's your lifeline at that age, is to breathe. Yes, it was very traumatic. You had good doctors working with you. They were able to rectify the situation. Your lungs now, do you still have a lung problem now?
I do.
This is kind of, oh, you came to Mac in Maryland for some problems with your lungs, didn't you?
Yes.
This is a little bit of a repercussion that you have. So often there's not one particular thing that causes a difficulty. It can be several. And this is another layer of that lung situation that you came for help.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that when you go home tonight or have a chance to meditate, you go into your little child and tell that little child how proud you are of that little girl inside of you that was able to survive and keep breathing and be able to be healed so that you could move and grow into the lovely lady you are today. And you're very proud that she was able to go through that and make it through with such flying colors that today you're doing so much better even though that happened. And to tell your lungs how proud you are that they are able to regenerate and how they can heal, and that you want them to heal. You love them very much, and you want your lungs to be as healthy as possible. Do you understand that your lungs have consciousness? The cells of your lungs,
Yes.
the cells of your body has consciousness. And they love to hear how you love them, and that they're doing a good job, and that you are taking good care of them. And this is important to help heal different body parts. It's very important. They can tell you what's wrong, and you can let them know how much you appreciate them. So in doing that, it's very healing. Your body loves you very much, Rosanna. It's happy that you are seeking information and looking at it from various points of help and seeing that this can be overcome, and that to hear They want you, do you meditate, Rosanna?
Yes, but not on a regular basis.
Well, they're suggesting you might consider that. That is the best way for healing, and you can go to Mac and Marilyn for additional help on healing days. Anytime you use spirit for healing, it is the best, most economical, but very practical way of getting help in these kinds of areas. And your body wants to heal, and it needs your support, and in meditating, you can give it a lot of support today that you couldn't when you were so young, and it would like to hear that.
And when I was 2, this was in a different lifetime, right?
I don't believe so. I think this is when you were in this lifetime.
Oh.
You were told about some past life things, right?
Yes.
I believe this is just an extended problem from this lifetime.
Oh.
It could have been the life before this life. I'm seeing a hospital. Yeah, okay, the hospital equipment would not have been very modern. When you were 2, that probably could fit. Yeah, I think it was this lifetime. It was more basic than some of the fancy machines they have today, very basic, and so that's why there was so much fear too. They did not have some of the equipment they have today. Yeah, the hospital was did not have the resources. But yeah, it seems like it was may I ask how old you are?
54.
So this would be 52 years ago. That would probably be about right as far as what I'm seeing for medical equipment. Okay, so that could very well be. Well, we still have lost Darcy, haven't we?
Would it be okay for her to come in?
Yes, she can come back. We have something for her. You can come in, Darcy. Welcome back. Are you feeling better?
Hopefully, yes. I'm going to cross in front of you now.
Thank you for telling me. Well, you needed some time to gather things together and your system to settle down. Are you feeling better?
It's my throat.
Okay.
I'm having a great deal of trouble with my throat.
Ah. You see, your throat is learning to tell the truth. And that's your power of will. You are choosing to be more honest, and your throat is opening up. And it has not been functioning, that chakra has not been completely open, and you are starting to open up that chakra. That's your 5th chakra. Mm-hmm. And the coughing could continue, the choking as that's processing. Just know that you're just readjusting, and the chakra is functioning more efficiently, and in doing that there are readjustments that go on, and we call it coughing or choking.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
And it makes a lot of sense. I do have another question related to that, because the 3 vertebrae right there in my neck are frozen. And so, and because of a yelling that I did many years ago in '82 when I split my vocal cords, I think it's all combined. I mean, opening up to learning to speak, and then the neck and the throat and everything all combined. They did have to open it up, the larynx, not too very long ago by putting a stent in it. So it's just, there's a combination of things going on, I'm sure.
I am also getting the message that the reason those bones are so firmly, I can't think of the term you used, but that those things are changing in the stint and it was necessary. Our bodies go into great fear, and Rosanna's body went into fear at the age of 2 from her medical situation. Your body in the neck region, throat region, you had a severe fear, and the body was shutting down to protect you. So in protecting you, it became so shut down that it couldn't function and move in the typical way the bones would normally adjust and be flexible to be usable in a comfortable way. And you're coming into a place, Darcy, that your body is relaxing more. That's part of why your chakra's opening up better. Your neck is relaxing. Did you have some trauma that went on where you had to be very, very still, that you could not move, and it would be almost like deathly if you were to change your position or to adjust?
Not that I can think of right at this moment. The throat thing was what I think is splitting the vocal cord, was yelling, and I was extremely angry. I don't yell anymore because of that. But I could not talk for over a month. I didn't know that I was ever going to be able to speak again.
Your yelling was to defend yourself, wasn't it? Your body was very scared. You needed to protect that part of your body. And you are coming out of and relaxing in that part of your body now. You are relaxing in many parts of your body compared to where you've been. You've been under a great deal of stress, haven't you? Great deal of stress. That's why meditation is so good. And I think that if you just played music around your house, do you ever play music just to help the peace in the valley come into your surroundings?
Not a lot, no.
That could be very comforting for the stress that you're relaxing from. I would suggest some soft, mellow music that you find very pleasing to the ear. Possibly spiritual songs, but whatever kind of music that you feel like you can relax with. And that would be very comforting to your body.
Could I ask one more question?
Yes.
I heard this week that I need to put my things in order. Is there any explanation in that?
Well, if you are saying that you're concerned about your future well-being, I don't think there is a problem that I can see. However, there's another way to look at that. We all need to have our lives in good, orderly fashion. And the less turmoil, the less strife and chaos, the more connected we are spiritually. The chaos is actually the opposite of God. Chaos. Well, my joke for the evening. You know who the enemy of Get Smart was? Chaos. So if you put your life in order, it could mean, I think it more likely means, to arrange your emotional being to be more in tune with order, so that you are coming from that peace in the valley. Does that make sense to you? Well, Darcy, we have a big surprise for you.
Oh, wow.
This is Darcy's birthday,
Oh.
and she has been so good about supporting all the work we're doing, and we want her to know how much we appreciate that. That we went out and made a special visit, and she is going to hear from Mother Mary. So, will you please wait for a moment while she comes?
Thank you.
Good evening, Darcy.
Good evening, Mother Mary.
I am right here to wish you happy birthday. I want to give you a gift, and my gift is to give you a lotus flower, and it is in front of you, and you are to embrace your lotus flower, and with each petal you are to open up the flower and let the light of each petal illuminate and come out so everyone can see who you truly are. You have been hiding underneath all those petals of light for a long time, Darcy. And it's time that your light really shines. So would you imagine taking each petal, pulling it back so the light of the petal can actually shine forth? And as you proceed to do that, I want you to see yourself in the center of the lotus. And in the center, you have all the confidence that is truly Darcy. It is time to shine your light and claim your confidence so that you can even be that Darcy that you came to be, that you can be yourself totally, Darcy, knowing you are as good as everybody. You are equal with everyone. You are very much talented, and you need to continue to help others, but do it from your strengths. I tend to think you kind of give yourself a little less confidence than you really have. You shield yourself a bit. Is that true?
A lot.
I thought so. And we want you to glow and own all of that beautiful, beautiful talent and just say, this is my God-given abilities, and I'm not going to shine it and only to use it to the best of my ability, and people will know that I am a comfortable person in my own skin, being myself and using these talents for the best and goodness of everyone. You really need to own it, Darcy. We love you so much. We want you to have that lotus. And remember that you are the center of that flower. And how much that is that it is a spiritual gift to know as you unfold the leaves of that flower that you are God. We all are God. But you need to specially know that tonight. And we wish you very, very merry birthday, and hope you really go home and realize what a special lady you are. And remember, whenever you're not feeling as comfortable or powerful, with confidence, that you have been given this lotus to remind you that you are as good as anyone else. You are as equal as anyone else, and your confidence is God-given. Please don't ignore it or minimize it. It is your gift. You are so welcome. Have a very happy birthday, Darcy. We all on this side love you very much. Your entourage is just standing there whooping and hollering and cheering you on, saying, have a very merry, happy birthday. Good night, everybody. Well, I was just going to come in. Is our hour up? Well, I would like to say thank you, Darcy, because I was just beginning to think this was about the right time to say adios. but usually for the new people I say toodaloo. So I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression of what's going on. I'm still a toodaloo lady. So we're just happy you all came, and we want to see you again. Hopefully everybody heard some good information tonight that we're able to go home and take it to heart. And we just want you to all have a great night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.